Hello buddy, welcome back to another video. I'm Purple from Gaming here, and today I'm playing some more Bloons Adventure Time Tower Defense. So today, I'm here with an ultimate tower guide. I haven't done one of these in a while. I'm doing it today with Sai, as you probably already know. So Sai is actually one of my favorite characters in the game. She's very versatile with her base camera protection. Definitely has a lot of utility. She doesn't have natural lead bomb power, but through flash bomb, and I believe, I'm not quite sure if any of the other attacks can pop, but I believe it's just flash bomb. She can pop lead balloons, and obviously there's a variety of trinkets that easily let her pop them as well, which can make her a very good DT popping power. She's very cheap, starting at, I believe, only $800, and most of her upgrades, as you can see, are fairly cheap as well. Though her later tier things can be fairly expensive. She's a pretty good character for just grinding out games. Once you feel fairly confident with Unpoppable, one of the best characters for just making progress, getting every last trinket and weapon, and just completing, like, bloom beacons or events, because she's pretty brainless to play. You put her down, have a good build with her, upgrade her, and she can pretty much solo the game, or solo Unpoppable on most maps. So today, a couple changes from the last Ultimate Tower video, because it's been a while. I'm going to go over one or two builds that I think can work with her, talking about some trinkets and weapons that work well with Sai. And then I'm actually going to cover quickly how you unlock Sai, because I don't think I actually did that with the original tower guide, so I'm going to do that this time around, but I'll probably start with that, because that makes the most sense. So, Sai is unlocked in Badlands, not in Wizard Battle, but this will take us to the right area. No, it will not, my mistake. Sai, where is Sai located? Sai is located next to Super Monkey. I believe it is in the Badlands, though, is it not? No, it's in Lemongrab. Okay, so this is my mistake. I believe from this set of maps, unlock Sai backdoor maps, correct? Could be wrong, but I'm just going to double check here. I believe, yes. So Lemongrab Story is one unlock Sai. There's 3 maps here. Just going to quickly give a basic overview of them. So first one first, backdoor, very easy map. Only have to beat this on normal mode, so you don't have to worry about hard mode or anything. Sai should probably be one of your first characters unlocked. My personal recommendation is that after you unlock Ice King and maybe complete the basic quest, you either go for Sam or Sai, and eventually both of them, leading into Flame Princess after that. But yeah, Sai is definitely one of the earliest characters you should get. Backdoor, very easy map. Bit of a loop there, which is kind of helpful. The next one is Lemongrab Fortress. Still a fairly easy map. There are multiple paths, but they do converge at the end. Those bottom 2 lines, balloons will come through, and I believe on the opposite rounds, the middle 2 lines, balloons will come through. But overall, they all exit through the top areas, so you can fairly easily place your defense in the middle and defend the map fairly easily. And then the final one that causes a bit of a threat, because it's the first introduction of stunning effects and, I guess, negative effects for most players. Unless you do Sam first. Reconditioning Chamber, basically, it'll alternate which electric floor is activated. That activated floor will stun all towers that don't have immunity, which there's some of those. I'm not going to go into big detail about this, but overall, Sai is a fairly easy character to get. These are the maps you have to beat. Just for this quickly, I will actually just quickly mention this. There are quite a few trinkets you can get. Super Monkey's Heroic Aura also makes him immune to negative effects, but I believe beyond that, there are quite a few you can use. One of which, if you have the epic version, is Candy Dive Suit, which gives immunity to negative effects. There is, I believe the earliest one you can get is the Rare, which is a little iffy. It doesn't work with all effects, but I believe it does work with this one, Protection Gem. And I believe there's one more that gives you immunity to these negative effects, which is in the super rare section. It is just me trying to remember. Is it you? Nope, wrong thing, not the dive suit. Give me a second to try to remember this. There are a lot of trinkets, and sometimes it's not super obvious. Or makes it a bit difficult, rather, which one does which. Is it the lava riders? There's so many of these that I honestly have a hard time remembering. It's definitely one of these protective ones. Yes, it is the red cowboy boots, rather. Allows lava placement and protects from negative effects. Blazing feet does not, that's a different one. So yes, cowboy boots, the candy dive suit, and protection gem are the 3 ways to give you immunity to that. But yeah, so with that said, that's pretty much how you unlock Sai. Now let's take a look at Sai's build. So, weapon. You can do a couple options, but for the most part, you're pretty much always going to want to use the Silver Tip Stakes, or if you don't have a legendary weapon, Dragon Fangs are basically the same with slightly lower Pierce, so they're just about even. You can technically use, going into this quickly, Blessed Darts, if they do work, but they're definitely not good. They're only really usable if you're using Sai as an early game maybe, but in most cases, Blessed Darts, not very useful. Explode Darts, which I don't have quickly available here because they're equipped to a different character. We'll go over these quickly. Explodey darts are actually super rare, very helpful, because they make the projectiles explosive and have a massive attack speed boost, so explodey darts can be very helpful, but to use explodey darts, you definitely want to make sure you have a lot of damage on your Psy build, which is definitely doable, but I just thought I'd mention that. It's a little debatable which is better. Generally, I use silver tip stakes or dragon fangs, but the explosive shells, the explosive dart definitely can be very helpful. You just need a damage-heavy build, which generally I will do. So as I mentioned, Psy does have natural cam protection, but what I generally try to use is Robo-Monkey Visor to let her pop lead balloons. There are, I believe, 1 or 2 Martian Gem trinkets that do the same thing, but I don't have those, and most players don't, so I'm just going to talk about the main ones. So beyond that, Goo Goo Mama Meter, if you're not using support, is obviously a good one for the +3 damage. Beyond that, you pretty much regardless, you still want at the very least Demon Heart for a little bit of extra damage just to make sure you're set. Although the dart and weapon does give some weapon or some damage unless you're going for explodey darts, you generally do want the extra damage nonetheless. A couple staples are still here, like Heart Gauntlets are definitely incredible. Psy's abilities actually are rather important. I will mention this is mostly for an offense build. I will talk a bit about a support build later on. But no, for as far as just general offense go, you want basic damage, Baker Shot, some of the basics, but Psy also has 2 special trinkets you pretty much want in just about all circumstances, one of which is debatably a support trinket, but it is definitely used for offense as well. It is the Dagger of Glass. I keep wanting to say ice. It does give a 10% attack speed boost, which is actually fairly substantial. It also gives his upgrade, Frozen Popping Power, and +1 damage to Frozen Balloons, which his upgrade lets him freeze. Just quickly going over the upgrade, it is... where is it? It is... oh, there we go, yes. The Frigitsu. Secrets of Frigitsu allows Psy to freeze balloons. His darts now freeze balloons on contact. He does extra damage to them, and he gets an attack speed boost. It's a very good trinket. The latter one is an epic trinket. It's an ability trinket. It's very useful, very special ability of Psy. And what it does is it creates a shadow clone of Psy. Very helpful. I will show that later on in game. It's nothing incredible, but it definitely does add a lot of damage, and especially if you're going for a damage-focused Psy, is very helpful. As far as support goes, it is still a very helpful one, as I will talk about later. For your final trinket, obviously, depends on what you're using. I will generally go with Cosmic Gauntlet, as abilities are fairly important for Psy, but there are a couple different options you can use. I will quickly go back into the trinkets menu to show these off. So you can, if you want, if you're focusing more on bad balloon DPS, Plasma Goggles can be fairly helpful. Depending on the map, you may want to try to use Beamo Skateboard to move her around the map rather, because Psy is, although you can sell and rebuy Psy without too much of a money loss, it is definitely a big deal. Those are the main ones for offense. Obviously, Treasure Chest Key is always an option if you're trying to go more farming. As I mentioned, Psy is very good for that, so that is definitely an option. But beyond that, for the most part, that's about what you want to use. With a couple alterations, like you may, for example, want to use Doom Gauntlets if you're dealing with shield balloons. There's a couple issues, but for the most part, this is a generalistic build of what you want to go for. This is offense, but I will quickly talk about support. Support Psy often isn't used, as all the support abilities you generally have access to with offense as well. But the big ones, the only real support abilities are, first of all, Marked for Death. It's incredible. Underestimated. I underestimate it. It's really good. Balloons hit by the blob of shadows take double damage for a short period of time. Here's the deal. Pretty sure this works on Moabs. Maybe VPs, maybe ZMGs. I'm doing another Mythbuster video, and probably in the next Bloons Adventure Time Tower Defense video, so I will definitely look at Marked for Death, because it does have the potential to be an incredibly powerful skill, but even if it just works on ceramics and Moabs, it's still very helpful, adds a lot of DPS, and obviously is fairly good support, as he fires it, or she fires it fairly quickly, so it can be very useful. Obviously, as I mentioned, Fujitsu freezes balloons, sort of support, but it's not all that reliable, and in most cases, you won't really be all that useful, as it only freezes balloons, not mold class balloons. And finally, Sabotage Supply Lines. Obviously, you need a level 5 Psy for this, but all balloons are forced to move slower. I believe it halves Blue's movement speed for about half the cooldown, so 50% uptime. Very, very helpful, definitely a big effect, and it does make a big difference in terms of helping you deal with DTs in particular, but ZMGs it's very helpful for as well. Obviously, his DPS focus, you got like Balloon Jitsu and stuff, but it's definitely very helpful for support. I will mention this, even at lower levels, Psy can be very helpful, but Psy definitely thrives once you can start adding damage, in particular because the basic Psy doesn't have much damage, although Balloon Anatomy is fairly helpful. As you can see though, even without any levels, you can still get Multi-Throw, Marked for Death, Tetsubishi, potentially for Jiu-Jitsu, Balloon Anatomy, Seeking Shurikens, all very helpful. Seeking Shurikens actually being a big deal, as Sai is one of the few characters in this game to have homing projectiles. So with our support build though, as I will quickly mention a few changes you might want to make to your trinkets, those being, if I go over this quickly, so ones in particular is you probably want a few more ability cooldowns, so things like Baby Tooth, which is also an option for the offense build as well, and other ability cooldown trinkets such as War Paint or Ninja's Headband are all good options, as they obviously reduce skill cooldown. Where is actually the Ninja's Headband? Okay, I think I'm forgetting to equip this one. No, this is in my I don't know. Okay, so not important. There is Ninja Headband, which is also a common trinket that reduces ability cooldown. So those definitely are helpful for support. Beyond that, it's just generalistic things you might expect, so like Warning Horn, Tree Trunks, Cutlass, etc. Generally, though, I would recommend at least a mostly offensive side. You could also go with some money-making upgrades, such as using just like Banana Replicator, or I believe that's really the only one you can use, but there are a couple others you can use still, such as Universal Coin, etc. So you can definitely make some money and have a pretty good support side. I'm not going to show a full build here, though as I mentioned, those are all good options that I'd probably use. Same thing with like Future Crystal. All very good options and all very useful. I believe that is pretty much it as far as trinkets and weapons and stuff go. There's not really a ton else to talk about. Sai definitely does thrive very much so with having a good supply of trinkets and being higher level, so you have access to more trinkets as well. With that said though, I think I'm quickly going to do an in-game test just to show you off Sai. So yeah, let's just get into this. Might as well do this map. We'll do it on Popple because, actually no, I'm going to do it on, I'll do it on Popple. I'm just going to quickly swap out a trinket to give him, negative effect immunity, because that makes sense as far as I'm concerned. So I'll plop in the Gumball suit, Gumball diving suit, whatever it's called, and get into Impossible. I do apologize if I am talking fast. I'm looking back. Apparently it's only been 10 minutes. I feel like I've been talking a lot, so if I am talking fast, I do apologize. Yeah, not much else to say there. I just apologize a bit. So I will actually go for a few Cobras here just to make it so I can have a bit more money making. Just so we can get these upgrades fairly quickly, because I don't want to wait too long. As I mentioned, Sai can still be fairly expensive, especially on this map where there's all the issues with the lightning triangles, which cause some issues for your towers, and particular Cobras. They can't make money while they're being stunned. So we'll go for all my Cobras quickly, and then we'll go for some Sai upgrades. But no, honestly, my favorite use for Sai definitely is just early game, while you get all your money making down, saving up for like Super Monkeys or I don't know, just a bunch of tech terror, something like that, where you save up for all your big late-game defenses. Sai does a great job for that, especially if you have Robo Monkey Visor, but even without it, you pair Sai with, like, Flame Princess, and they are really incredible. I can't remember if I've done a 2000 Popple with them yet. If not, I definitely will in the future, as they're a pretty darn great combo. I've used them for most of my Extreme and Popple games early on. I used that combination, and it worked pretty darn well. As I mentioned though, Seeking Shuriken is definitely very important for Sai. Not that big of a deal right now, as obviously shooting in a straight line, but having the Seeking Shurikens is very, very useful. Beyond Seeking Shurikens and potentially Marked for Death, Balloon Anatomy is decent for the extra. I believe it's 2 damage, but I could be wrong, it might just be 1. But really what you want to do is likely rush Multi-Throw and then Balloon Jitsu, as Multi-Throw obviously adds 1 more projectile, effectively doubling Sai's DPS. At which point you then obviously go for the rest of Sai's upgrades, leading into Balloon Jitsu as fast as possible, because Balloon Jitsu is very, very powerful, as Balloon Jitsu then makes Sai fire 5 projectiles, so 2.5 times damage there. But it's also a fairly massive attack speed boost. Has to be close to 50%. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's definitely pretty darn high. Makes a big difference. It adds a lot of attack speed plus the extra projectiles. Definitely is a massive difference for Sai, which leads me to personally believe that pre-level 7 Sai is significantly weaker, especially since around the time you get level 7 Sai, you also have access to the Shadow Mask, which I'll show off the Shadow Clone here quickly. Ploop. So it will place somewhere nearby Sai. It doesn't have to be in Sai's range, as you can tell here, but it's generally in the general vicinity. As you can see, it's about half currently, but with combinations of using Cobra, for example, which is a very good combo with it, as you'll see in a second once I get enough money for it, you can fairly easily get closer to 3/4 or 2/3 uptime with it, which is obviously much better. It does have all of Sai's upgrades when it's being used, so if you use it pre-Bloon Jitsu, it'll have pre-Bloon Jitsu upgrades if you use it after he's fully maxed out, or she's fully maxed out. Sorry for mixing that up a ton. The Shadow Flame will also have all those upgrades, kind of like the Crystal Copy power-up, so it's very useful in that sense. As you can see now, with the Shadow Clone ability, or with Cobra's upgrades rather, the Shadow Clone ability is much, much higher, except what just happened? Okay, you guys saw that too, right? The ability just... Okay, I'm gonna ignore that for the time being. That's definitely not meant to happen. I think that's a glitch with the electric floor. Yeah, I think it's to do with Cobra being stunned, but that is a super strange interaction I have not noticed before. Once you get Flash Bomb, by the way, you have access to Bloon Jitsu and Sabotage Supply Lines. Actually, Sabotage Supply Lines back with Tetsubishi, my mistake. So Sabotage Supply Lines, obviously big support, but obviously, again, doesn't work on Baballoons, which is definitely a weakness of it. Bloon Jitsu being just the general boost being, I'd say at least 3, maybe even 4 times damage. For only $5,000, it's a really big deal, and definitely the most cost-efficient upgrade that Sai has, though I suppose you could probably make an argument for multi-throw as well. But yeah, Sai can definitely be a good option pre-level 7 as well, as multi-throw definitely does do some good damage, especially when you're dealing with your first Moab, having the, what's it called in particular, Balloonatomy plus multi-throw, especially in combination with Marked for Death, can lead Sai to be doing fairly significant damage even without very many good trinkets or weapons, which is definitely very helpful, but then he also does, or she also does, really thrive late game in particular, as I mentioned throughout this video. But yeah, honestly, there isn't too much else to say about Sai. I'm definitely going to obviously get Sabotage Supply Lines to show it off to you guys. Wait a few more rounds for Moabs to show up. As you can see, Sai does pretty good work. But once we activate Sabotage Supply Lines, you can see the immediate slowdown of balloons. And once again, the ability, Ignore Cobra Shenanigans, seems to be about 3/4 to 2/3 to 3/4 uptime, which is pretty good. So the majority of the time you can have this ability, which is obviously pretty helpful. I don't believe it's possible to get it to 100% uptime. I do believe it transfers over between rounds, though I could be wrong about that. Actually, no, it doesn't look to transfer over between rounds. The Shadow Clone definitely does, though, as you can see here. The Shadow Clone definitely does transfer over between rounds, which is rather helpful. At least I'm pretty sure it does. I'll try to confirm it one more time here, dropping it now. On to 40, yeah, it sticks over to round 41, but I don't believe the Sabotage Supply Lines does. I thought it did, but it doesn't appear to, so that's too bad. Let me just double check this. Round end any second now, leading into Moab. Never mind, not going to test it quite yet. I'll guess test it in a couple rounds here. As you can see, Moab absolutely obliterated. It makes a pretty big difference. It works really well. Round 44, come on, Sabotage, do last into the next round. This is being surprisingly difficult to test, and I still can't. As you can see, though, Sai definitely pretty darn good DPS. Slow down now. And the Sabotage is huge. It's such a big difference in speed. Sabotage definitely doesn't look like it carries over between rounds, which is too bad. I thought it did, but I guess not. Overall, Sai definitely very good. Probably focused on Moabs as Sai's main DPS, but Sai definitely does do a good job against ceramics and leads and regens and stuff as well. The Moabs, I'd say, will probably be Sai's specialty, and honestly, DETs in particular kind of make sense between natural cam protection and Sabotage Supply Lines, slowing them down. Sai, especially if you can get Robo Monkey Visor, really without not nearly as great, is the ultimate DET killer. I heavily recommend Sai if you're struggling with DETs. With Robo Monkey Visor and Sabotage Supply Lines and stuff, Sai is pretty darn incredible, especially considering you only need level 5 for Sabotage Supply Lines, so you can get it significantly earlier than Bloon Jitsu, and have Sai just be this incredible support, as long as you're not going up against bad balloons, which obviously from DETs you would be. But even against bad balloons, Sai can pack a pretty big punch, but generally can't solo bad balloons as her DPS isn't quite high enough to deal with them. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. This is obviously a fairly short video. I hope I went over everything and didn't miss anything. If I did, I apologize. Leave a comment if you guys have any other opinions or questions. I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities as fast as I can. And let me know what you guys think of this video. Do you want me to do the rest of the tower ultra buffs? Also, BFB, pretty awesome. I'll probably stick around till the ZMG on round 60, just to give one final comparison, but not quite to the bad balloon. But yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think about Sai, about this video, this guide, sort of. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions. In fact, actually, I think I'm going to quickly just, I'll show you ZMG, but once after we deal with the ZMG with Sai, I think I'll cut to the bad balloon just to give that as the final thing for today's video. But yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think about this video, if there's things you think I could do better, if you want me to talk slower, because again, I feel like I'm talking really fast. If I am, I do apologize. But yeah, definitely let me know if you guys have some things you want me to do with this series, because I do plan on doing this. I've done it for a few towers in the past, but definitely not all of them. I'd say about half now, so I'm definitely interested in doing this type of video again in the future. So if you guys want to see it, definitely let me know, because I think I'd be happy to do it. Okay, ZMG, any round now, let's see the true power of Psy, and you'll see Psy dominate a ZMG, assuming the ZMG makes it anywhere, because Sabotage Supply Line's too powerful. So as you can see, even without any of those abilities, because I timed those poorly, Psy does a pretty darn good job of dealing with the ZMG fairly easily. Psy can definitely handle fortified ZMGs on most maps, though as you'll probably see, and as I have mentioned, Baboons definitely struggles more for, so I will see you guys then. So I am actually going to cut here quickly, just so you can see the DT action. That was kind of fast, but did want to quickly mention that. You'll see it again with the Baboon. I just wanted to do this quick edit, so yeah. Okay, so I'm coming back on round 73. I'm not quite sure why I'm doing these edits, but I am. So this is definitely one of the hardest rounds of the game, but also I want to show you guys Psy against the Wave of Ceramics on round 74. So far, I will mention I haven't placed any other towers. Psy has soloed this. Just, I guess, a bit of proof to say that Psy's pretty darn powerful. And as you can see, actually, yeah, no, so maybe I was wrong to say that Psy's specialty was Morbs. It definitely might be balloons. Because that was the round 74 ceramic wave. That is the highest, densest, strongest wave of ceramics there is in the entire game, including Martian games. So, yeah, obviously Sabotage Supply Lines doesn't work on this. Shadow Clone is fairly helpful against the Baboon, and you can see the DPS. It's certainly not insane, but it's rather helpful. And because you do have the Sabotage for once the Baboon pops, I'm willing to bet Psy can beat this. Though, I don't know, this is the end here, so I'm quickly gonna just drop, I'm gonna be ready to drop, rather, some, like, tech tears and stuff if I need to. Though, hopefully, Psy will be good and we'll be all okay, because I believe Psy can pop these balloons. About to go into final damage phase. There we go, final damage phase for the Baboon. I'll put it in slow-mo so I can use Sabotage here quickly, in case I need to, which I probably will. Sabotage, DTs deal with. Awesome, so down to just the ZMGs. So it does look like Psy will probably fall slightly short on beating these, like, solo. But still, all in all, pretty darn impressive. And actually, Clutch Shadow Clone means we've got this. So there you go. That was Psy. This is my ultimate Psy, the Shadow Guide. Let me know what you guys think. Again, leave a comment, like, subscribe. Be awesome. Thank you for joining the Purple Elephant Squad if you have already. And if not, again, subscribe. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this video is turning out. At least I say now. So if you guys do want to see some more of these tower guides, if you guys have some tips for them, some things you want me to add to them, change about them, whatever, definitely leave a comment, as I really do appreciate it. Helps me come up with better ideas. Your feedback is very helpful to me. But yeah, just thank you for watching. If you guys watched this whole thing, that's really awesome. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye!